Hello, we have James Sun of the Perk. It's called Pirq.com, and it's right here. He's the CEO and founder. Isn't this the coolest app ever? It's beautiful. We're going to talk about that. He's been on the Apprentice. He's been all over the world. Wait to be inspired by this show tonight. Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Small Businesses Do It Better, where we bring you weekly videos highlighting small business owners that bring their fun, their work, and everything in between. This episode is brought to you by Ovaleye, where we empower your home office lifestyle through web hosting, cloud services, and domain names. Visit ovaleye.com to buy your domain today. And by audible.com to get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/Ovaleye. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hello, I'm Kathy, the Chief Decision Maker at Ovaleye.
And I am Carissa, the Community Relations Manager at Ovaleye.
We have an exciting show tonight. We are very honored to have James Sun on tonight. He's the CEO of Pirq.com. This is the app behind us. It's gorgeous, I have to say. Out of all these apps that I've seen, oh no, that's James right there. But this beautiful app he's going to talk about. Also his life. He has quite the life. He's this young guy that's done a lot, and you will be inspired tonight by this. There. Sorry, I had to put my phone down.
We want to talk about a couple things first. I am ecstatically giddy, geeking out. I can't even tell you how excited I am about all the applications that are coming in for the presenters at the Back to Business Building Summit. The deadline's this Friday to apply, so go to b2bbsummit.com. It's an online web conference that lasts for 3 days at the end of September. We have awesome people this year. It's going to be...
How many speakers so far have signed up? I mean, there's...
several handfuls.
Yeah, there's going to be
a lot.
Only 15 spots.
We're opening up a couple more because
good.
We have some awesome people. So if you want to speak, then go there to apply.
Please
Otherwise,
apply.
Stay tuned and we'll talk about when it is so you can attend, because there's so much to learn on this.
Tell us again where to apply.
It's b2bbsummit.com. And the other exciting thing that we have brewing up in our Ovaleye kitchen is the Shark Tank party. We're having a live online Shark Tank premiere party.
There's woohoo!
It's going to be at ovaleye.tv live, where our shows are. So we're going to have people in the studio with a green screen. We're going to be doing all sorts of fun things, but we're also going to have all these people online chatting and
they're
talking.
Already filling up too. If you want more information, tell them where to go.
You can go to ovaleye.tv/live or ovaleye.tv, and there's a event page there, and it's also a Facebook event, so you can RSVP, and that's where you'll get updates and all that kind of thing. There's a lot of people. I've been going online and talking to people with the Shark Tank hashtags.
Well, we're huge fans, and we tried to figure out how we can put the Shark Tank episodes into our own shows that we have on ovaleye.tv in some way, because we've interviewed a few that have either been involved with Shark Tank or inspired to be like, these
are diehard fans
so
too. So
it's pretty exciting that we're hosting this. And what day is it again, Carissa?
It's September 14th. It's during Shark Tank on Pacific time, so 8 to 9 is the show, so we're going to start at 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after, so we can talk all the good things and bad things and pitches and all that stuff.
A little, what is that, the red carpet?
Like the red carpet.
It'll be fun. Okay, and so September's going to be jam-packed with great things, and to kick it off before September, we have James Sun on, and he is an amazing person that is traveling the U.S. and is somewhere out in the boonies with no video internet. So we have him for the first time Thank you so much, James' son, on Skype phone. So you won't see him. You'll see a lot of images of him on our show, but he has so many great things to talk about. So thank you, James' son, for joining in tonight. Hello. Let's bring him up.
Thank you very much for having me tonight. I apologize about my video not working. I'm in technology, and one day, hopefully, we can fix really broadband all across
Yes, and we should also say there's
the U.S. everywhere we go, but I'm happy to be on tonight, at least on voice.
Thank you, and it's a little bit of a delay and a little bit of a broadband kind of thing going on, so bear with him because he has so much to say. So let's start in. James, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so basically, I'm a pretty normal guy who happened to stumble upon extraordinary circumstances by meeting interesting people, interesting opportunities. But I've always been an entrepreneur myself. My parents have been entrepreneurs, and we immigrated to this country when I was 3 years old. And I saw my father become an entrepreneur, trying to make it in this country, and it gave me an incentive to do the same thing. And so essentially, I started my first company when I was 11 years old, and then I also started a fund legally when I was 18 years old, and worked for some large companies like Intel and Deloitte Consulting as a management consultant. But eventually realized that I wanted to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life. And so now I'm here with my third company and enjoying every minute of it. But I think it takes people with a vision. It takes people that, I would really say that I'm average.
Yes, I would say that you're
an average guy who just happened to stumble upon great people. And so I'm trying to do the best that I can.
I think you're above average, but I like that you're humbled by saying just average. If you looked at the photos that we just showed, you're a little bit above the fold, I should say.
So James, the first question that I want to ask you, obviously Perk, obviously Perk is a great app for consumers to get great deals on food all over the place in Seattle and Silicon Valley. But you guys also stress that it's really important for businesses. So how can this app help businesses who choose to offer this
app?
Well, for the core value of our company is to help local merchants. My parents were business owners of local companies, restaurants, car shops, all the way to beauty salons. And so I understand what the local merchant goes through. When they're not busy during the day and they have an off-peak hour, they're waiting for a customer to walk in. It's a very painful experience. And you basically have fixed costs that you have to pay out, whether it's electricity, payroll. Customers are not coming in. So I thought about an idea of helping the local business, the local merchant, to be able to broadcast and to be able to actually submit or distribute an incentive for customers to come in when they were not busy. And the essence of it is that instead of a Groupon or a Living Social coupon, why not bring in those customers when you're not busy? And that way you're actually increasing your return on investment, especially your increased margin for your business, because you're open anyways. You have these cost factors that you can leverage. And so I really leveraged the experience from my parents and being an observant of small businesses and seeing what their problems were, to give them a platform to do real-time deals so they could bring in customers during their off-peak hours.
Well, what I find so fascinating about your core right there is that small business owners really need this. And for somebody to think of this, that's not one, you're not really retail and you're not a restaurant owner. Like you said, you're thinking of your parents and probably friends and family that have it. And who wouldn't jump on this kind of a deal where it's the downtime of your day, and who doesn't carry their phone? I mean, today, as I'm traveling back to our headquarters, I had my phone and we were at an Apple stand and took the phone, and I could have done, this and said, okay, I want this, or, people were taking pictures. Smartphones are everywhere, and what better way to do this but to help local businesses?
Yeah, and local businesses, they're not necessarily completely on top of mobile and social technologies.
Yes.
And so what we do is we help local merchants figure out a very simple way to get to their local customer.
Definitely. And you kind of touched on this before, but I want you to reiterate the reasoning behind having a real-time deal as opposed to something like Groupon or Living Social, where it's like a daily deal or a coupon, because it's a big difference.
Sure, absolutely. And here's basically the economics for a merchant. When you do a daily deal, you're exposed to a high discount, but the problem is that these discounts could come in during your peak hours. So what could happen is when you already have a line because your business is popular during lunchtime, you can have extra new customers come in, and now you're upsetting your existing customers and new customers because you're not managing the pipeline. You're not managing when people are redeeming the deal. So what Perk does is help you to bring in customers when you don't have your regular customers coming in. And I would say that's the biggest differentiation if they have a real-time deal opposed to a daily deal or a coupon.
Well, that hit it right there. I was in a Spark and Hustle thing last month, and one of the spa owners was up on stage, and she was saying those things, just what you were saying, that Groupon takes, the best time of the day for her regular customers, and she needed to fill those spots that weren't being taken by the regular customers. So Perk actually does that, which Groupon does not. Apologize for the delay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And James, I want to ask you, you're really big on giving back and doing everything you can to give back in any way that you can. And since you're food-based company, it revolves around food, you partnered with United Way for Deals for Meals. So can you tell us a little bit about your partnership with them and how it works?
Sure. Basically, we were talking to vendors and local restaurants, and as local restaurants were giving a deal or an incentive for customers to come in, we thought about all the people in the local community that lacked resources, where they were homeless or they were low income and they needed to feed their kids. And us as consumers have a very, very, I would say we're very lucky to be able to go out and spend $20 or $30 on a meal. And is there a way to leverage that to remind people as you're eating a great meal to give back? And so what we do is we have a Deals for Meals campaign that essentially every restaurant that signs up on Perk, and there's obviously revenue generated, we donate a percentage of the revenue to actually feed the low income and also the homeless people in the local community.
That's so nice. I love that idea, and more people should do that too. We should, Ovaleye should be giving to something like United Way.
And James, I was wondering this too, because this is obviously food and you're helping people eat. Is there any expansion possibilities in the future to expand anything other than food that could also help people?
Like clothes? Is that what you're trying to get
Yeah,
to?
because, you know, people need clothes, and I know they do a lot of coats and stuff like that, or backpacks, or...
That's a great question. And we actually are expanding our service to all local merchants that need a leverage technology for time and space. So if you're let's say, for example, a spa, or if you are a nail salon, or you're a retail shop, and you want customers to come in, and you could broadcast certain deals during certain time slots or on certain inventory, and basically allow them to be part of this Deals for Meals. Absolutely. And that's being launched next month, and we're very excited about that.
Wow.
Very cool. Well, I'll keep tabs on that, and then we'll keep our viewers in the loop on that, because that's really exciting. Mm-hmm. That opens up the door to a big market.
Sorry for the delay.
I want to go in to start talking about The Apprentice, because Apprentice is kind of like Shark Tank. I love these business shows, and Apprentice is huge. Jen brought up the point, our Jen, that they're kind of doing the Celebrity Apprentice thing now, which I prefer the normal people Apprentice. I don't
The
really
normal
like
people.
the celebrity
But
ones.
I think he was on season 6, and so let's get his...
So, James, as we all know, it's a competition for business people, but they are kind of selective on who they choose because they need ratings also. So how do you feel that you were best qualified for the show?
Well, he's got a great voice, that's for sure. And there's...
Yeah, I think The Apprentice, the show itself, is a very interesting ecosystem of competitors who are successful in business or in their careers, and they're vying for a job with Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, it is also a television show. And so if nobody is watching the show, then the show doesn't succeed. And in reality, the television show of The Apprentice is also a business. Without viewers, they don't get commercial spots, they don't get people watching the show, so therefore they don't make revenue. And so there is a very interesting balance between getting ratings and having a competition between business people. I think what may have qualified me for the show is the fact that I do have real business experience, but the fact that I am also somebody that will voice my opinion, that will also take on a diversity leadership role and do the best that I can. And I think at the end of the day, whether it's a camera on television or a camera on a movie, your real personality does come out. And hopefully people saw that I was very passionate, very, very energetic, and extremely devoted to whatever I did. And if you watch 18... I don't know about you, but I get excited being around passionate people. I
Yes.
get excited about being around ambitious people. Now, obviously, the show itself creates a very competitive environment, but I think that at the end of the day, I would much rather have competitive people rather than people that are not really motivated.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. And
Good points.
I have to say, it was really inspiring and like refreshing watching you on the show, because I watched the season that you were on, but I, of course, this past week I refreshed myself and watched some more. But you really did give it your all, and I can see why you were finalists. I remember the scene where you guys did a presentation in the boardroom, and James brought out this giant visual aid with all this giant business structure on that nobody else had thought of. Nobody else had even considered it. And he showed it to Donald, and he just was speechless. He didn't know what to say, and
Donald
everyone
was
in the
stunned.
room was like silent. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy is really just going to kill us all. This is incredible.
I think it's a great learning lesson in business that if a client, and I kind of learned this in my consulting days as a management consultant, is that if a client gives you a parameter to do X, Y, and Z, you want to go a little bit further and you want to think outside the box. And that's definitely true as an entrepreneur. You have to go outside the box. You have to do a little bit more. In fact, you have to do a lot more.
I think our viewers should take a look at that episode.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it because
please.
it was like it was really good.
Good inspiration.
While you were on The Apprentice, you guys got to go meet with the governor, and you got to ask him a question, and you asked him how he overcame his toughest obstacles. So
that would be cool to be in the same room with him.
If you want to say what he said, great, but I want to know how you've overcome your toughest obstacles.
Yeah. Basically, during that meeting with Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I really wanted to understand how he overcame Hollywood, because before he was a governor, he became a great actor or a very popular and successful actor. And I asked him the question, how are you able to overcome all of the obstacles of being an immigrant who did not speak English, who did not understand the Hollywood culture? And what he told me was very insightful, and that's something that I learned, and that's something I apply in my own life, is no matter how many people tell you no matter how many people say you can't do it, you have to ignore the naysayers and focus on the vision, focus on the end result, and go after with the fervor that you have and the passion that you have, that's just relentless, that you just cannot let go of, because it's a part of you. You almost have to make the vision a part of your soul and your heart, because that's what will keep you going. And that's what I heard from the governor.
Amen to that. That was perfectly said, too. Thank you.
And this may have been it, but what was your most valuable thing that you've learned from being on The Apprentice?
I think the most valuable lesson that I learned from The Apprentice is the fact that with a small team, with very little resources, with very little people, you can accomplish 1 month of work in 5 days.
Wow.
I never thought that some of the tasks that we did could be done in 5 days or in 3 days, but they could. If you have the like-mindedness of the team that's committed, that's willing to put the time, energy, efficiency in, you really could create 30 days of work in 5 days. And that was the biggest learning lesson I ever learned on The Apprentice.
That's an excellent lesson, and it's really puts it into perspective when you start thinking about what you're doing throughout your day, how many times you stop working and just power through it and get it done so much faster.
I think I need you to come back on the show again because you're very helpful for me just to hear your words. You say it so passionately, too.
Well, one thing I've learned is that these are not words for me. They're actually lifelong lessons that I actually journaled, that I actually put down, that I teach my kids, that I teach my, the people that work for me and that work with me. And so I truly do believe in these things that I'm saying.
That's amazing. We're just going to put together a bunch of quotes, too.
Yes, I think so, from you.
So after The Apprentice, James was, I guess, selected to host a show called Tzus War on Business, and where he traveled all around the globe talking to small business owners and entrepreneurs. So I love this question. I'm really excited to hear your answer. What was different about entrepreneurs in the United States versus those from other countries?
Good question, Carissa.
Well, I think that the United States is very interesting, and I do believe that I can give a very comprehensive perspective on it, because I was born in Asia, particularly in South Korea, and I came to the U.S. when I was 3 years old and lived all my life in the U.S. But I do go back to Asia quite often to understand my family background, my culture. So I feel like I've got a pretty balanced view of the world where the East meets the West. And on this particular show called Tzus War on Business, it was a show that we produced with BBC, and which is obviously in Europe. BBC Worldwide, who produced like Dancing with the Stars.
Oh yeah.
They actually took this on and distributed it worldwide, and it was a show about taking businesses in different countries and showing the micro ecosystem and the macro ecosystem. So, for example, if a company was in India, how did the Indian macro system affect the micro system of running a business and vice versa? And the biggest difference that I learned between the United States and all the other countries, which encompass India, China, Japan, Singapore, Australia. There's so many countries that I went to, but the biggest difference is that the American spirit and the dream thinks completely beyond what is necessarily realistic, which actually takes the level of realism and extends it to become what's not realistic to become reality. And here's what I mean by that. The American dream is still alive. It's still real. We have a huge market, 330 million people. We have an ecosystem that you don't have to be from a certain family. You don't have to pay the next month's bill. How am I going to pay payroll? Whereas American entrepreneurs look at it in a blue ocean and look at building the next Facebook. Look at building the next Apple. Or even in Apple's case, where it went down and rebuilding the next Apple. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing ecosystem of spirit. And that's one thing I notice about the American entrepreneur that is different from everywhere else that I've seen.
I don't, I just love listening to you, and I appreciate everything you said tonight. I wish you were live so I could see you, but that's what makes you, is because you went on, you had your assistant called tonight, said he's out in the boonies, but he doesn't care. He's going to be on tonight. He was on Skype phone. That's not perfect. It had a delay tonight, but he was on tonight, and he had great information for all our viewers and for me and Carissa. It was wonderful. James, thank you so much for tonight. The delay.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I wish I could have been in a better situation, but I think this is part of entrepreneurism is you have to adjust and make the best of your resources.
Yes, and I appreciate that you went through with it tonight, because all of us, we were planning on doing it and got excited too. So thank you again. And best wishes on your traveling in the U.S. here.
And for those of you watching or watching it later, we'll have all of the links to James's information
and his quotes
on ovaleye.tv, because this is some amazing information.
Yes, it was very good.
We can all learn from it and go back and read it again and then get a little kick again and continue on.
Yes, so thank you again for tuning in and listening to James' Son. And next week we have...
Ooh, this is fun! Next week we have Katie... Is it Katie Moe?
Katie Moe.
She's a baker of Katie Bakes. She's in Louisiana, and she's actually closing her store for 2 days to let the hurricane, or was it a hurricane?
Yeah.
Tropical storm pass through. So her shop is closed for 2 days, but
it's all over the news. Oh, that's right.
you
don't get cable.
So she will be on the show next Tuesday after Isaac rolls through.
I want to say a shout out to all our members and viewers that are in that area. I hope everybody's safe, and we will talk to everybody next week. Until then, this is Kathy and Carissa. See you next week.